So FileMaker 14 has been out for quite a while now, and I went through a lot of the new features in 14 last time, but we didn't get up too much on either server or, more importantly, FileMaker Go. And FileMaker's made quite a few changes for FileMaker Go, and FileMaker Go is an interesting animal. So what I've done this time, rather than starting from scratch, I've actually gone off and had a look at one of the starter solutions that FileMaker's provided. Starter solutions are actually quite a bit better than they used to be. Still not fantastic, but quite a bit better than they used to be. So I had a look at the assets. I had a look at which of the starter solutions best showed off some of the features of FileMaker Go. So I'll just go back to the desktop version. We've got a whole 2 records in here, my car and somebody else's car, and I didn't build this, so I don't know how to navigate it, but you may have noticed that I just went into here, and in the layout drop down menu you see that they've been grouped into 4 sections, one for desktop, one for iPad, one for iPhone, and one for web. It's the other thing we didn't have a good look at last time was Web Direct, the replacement for instant web publishing, which hopefully I'll have a look at as well. So this is now considered to be best practice, where you have a set of layouts for each of the presentations that you're going to have. So although when FileMaker Go was first brought out, FileMaker said it will just work, about 3 minutes after that they realised no, it won't just work, you've got to really have a layout for each thing because of the touches, because of the size of the screens, because of what you can fit on the screen. So it's not totally portable. There's to retrofit to old solutions, there's quite a bit of work replicating all of your layouts and making sure they're all touch compatible. So this particular solution, it's only got, I'll go into the back end, it should only have 2 tables in it. I put in a 3rd one when I was playing. An assets table and a history table, and there's really only one relationship. Now I mentioned before that these solutions aren't perfect yet, and for me they're still using, oh no they haven't, oh there you go, I know, current asset ID, that's even worse. That I've been since FileMaker 14, which is when it came out, the calculation get UUID, which calculates a unique ID for that record forever across the whole of the solution. You'll never get a duplicate record, a duplicate number. It's actually text. And I'm using all of those for my relationships, and then I don't have to worry about serial numbers being here, there and everywhere. That's an interesting one, using it. Yeah. That must be filled in somewhere in the script. Okay, so we've got 2 tables, 2 layouts for desktop. One's just a list layout, and the other one's a details layout. If we go down to the iPad, you can see that it's basically the same, but it's bigger. So let's see, first of all, whether stop. So I'll see if I can see this host now. Yes, I can. Now, come back to here. While we're here, they've changed things around slightly on the iPad. So we've now got the hosts up here. Head office is my server out in Kilsyth. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to that in a few minutes. Don't worry about the other ones, they're just plain ones. But it's picked up my local host, picked up my laptop here, so I can tap on that and it brings up the the file that we've got open on here. There are two ways that you can run applications on the iPad or on iOS, either on the device or through a server. Take that back. At the moment, and the server can be to a laptop, or sorry, to a desktop mounted thing or a server. So I've told this application to share just from my laptop. It's not running server, it's just running client to FileMaker Go. And the script has said, when I've opened it, hopefully we've got an opening script on, first window open, there we go. I don't like using these global variables myself, but this is how the script is. It's saying, first of all, it's working out what sort of platform it is. So we've now got a get system platform, and the system platform, if it's 4, means it's coming through a browser, either Windows or Mac, and so it's on a web. And then we've got a get device, and get device is 1, 2, 3 or 4, and if it comes back 0, it doesn't know what it is, which is strange. But you can have Mac, PC, tablet, and they've called it tablet in here, even though it's only available on iPad. So that's an interesting one. And phone, and again, it's only available on iPhone. So that's, whoever's designed this has called it that. So the first time it comes in, it says, what are you? Ah, you're a tablet. So I will go to the tablet layout. So I'll get out of that, I'll get out of that, don't need to save that, and I'll go back to Reflector so you can see what's actually on there. So you can see that that is different to, get out of that, go back to desktop. That is different to that. We've got the chevron on the side. Let me see if I can do this. We've got the chevrons on the side here to make it look like an iPad-y thing, even though if we tap, sorry, I'll go back, get rid of that, don't view that, all assets. Even if we tap anywhere on the line, we don't actually have to tap on the chevron, we can tap anywhere on the line and it will take us to the detail view. Go back to all assets. And here we've got 2 tabs, in theory 2 tabs, but they're in fact 2 layouts. You can see it's changing layout. So if we go to the details, close that so it can fit. So we've got the details layout there, and we've got a details layout there, totally different layout. Good, sorry. Details layout there, totally different layout. Same information, just presented differently. And if we go down to the phone, open this back up. I won't attempt to put it. Yeah, why not? Let's see if look at that. Look at that. There it is. Look at that. Amazing. Now, where's phone? I've got, what is it, 10, 11, no, 11, 12, 13 and 14 on this phone. And with a bit of luck, no, we don't want to go there. Launch center. We want to go hosts. And you can, as you can see, the launch center is different again. If we go to our hosts, it's bringing up just a list on the phone. Go to our MacBook, there's our assets, and there it comes in and it says, okay, you're on the phone. We go to this one and you see we've got something different again. So 3 sets of layouts for 3 applications. Now I've got 2 devices talking directly to FileMaker Pro client. You can't do that on server unless you've bought some more licenses. On server, you've got a number of connections. When you buy server, you get 1 connection. That's a WebDirect connection or a Go connection. So if I put this up onto my server, well, on my actual server it's okay because I've got more connections. But if you just buy an out-of-the-box server, you can only have either a WebDirect or a Go connected concurrently. An iPhone or an iPad or the web.
Unless you buy extra.
Unless you buy extras, and you buy them in 5 packs. They're not very expensive, but you've 5 packs, yeah. So you get 1, 6, 11, 16 connections. So but they're concurrent. They're simultaneous. Simultaneous. So if you've got people coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, not a problem. Only get one connection. But if you've got somebody coming in at the same time, you need more than 1. I've got 6 on my server and nobody's complained yet. It's gone to sleep, but that's okay. We'll leave that asleep. We know it works. But on Pro, it's not a problem. You can have as many connections as you like, I think. A couple of things on the iPad. It now uses touch. So the first thing you can do is 3 fingers. You can get rid of all of your chrome around the edge. So 3 fingers up, whoop, take that out. 3 fingers up, 3 fingers down. So you can get rid of the hosts up here or the actions. You can get rid of the search. You can get rid of the record navigator at the bottom and everything else. You can also lock those in scripts, and that's what I usually do. I lock all of that down. So when it comes in, it says hide toolbar, lock, so that people can't get to those sorts of things. Then you have to make sure that all of the actions that they do, including logging out, is available somewhere in your application. And probably on this one, there is nowhere to log out. No, there's nowhere to log out. So you have to be able to get back to that to be able to go close file. Just while we're there, you see that we've got scripts. We've got access to all of the scripts, or one of them. Well, all one that I've shown. But of course, you can't develop on the iOS devices. You've got to do all of your development on a laptop or a desktop, Pro Client. And if you're doing any serious development, you need Pro Advanced. Yeah, so you want to lock some of these things down so you can't accidentally go back to the desktop. Even though it all still works, it doesn't make as much sense. And we have to scroll around, even if we lay it on the side. It's pretty good on the side there. But you can see that the fonts are much too small. And if we're going to go into something, go into here and type things, it doesn't work nearly as well. So let's go back to layout, iPad, asset details.
So do you do several versions of every screen?
Possibly.
Okay.
It depends very much on the solution and how it's going to be used. I will do a layout for everything that's going to be used for that particular solution on that particular device. So some layouts, some applications, you won't run at all on an iOS device. You won't run it on the phone, you won't run it on a tablet. No need to make an extra layout. Occasionally you'll have layouts places that you want to run just on an iOS device that you don't want to run on desktop. So you don't do a desktop layout. In this particular solution, just the way it's set up, you've got you've got a list and a detail layout. On another one of the solutions, you've got a list and a detail in desktop, and then you've got a list and a detail and something else in the iOS, because they want to have something else. Can't remember which solution it is. And I think another one's got a number of other layouts for desktop, which aren't used at all for iOS. Yeah, so horses for courses. And a solution that I've finished recently, we've got a lot of reporting on desktop, which isn't done at all on the iOS devices. iOS is used for input and for getting stuff out, but no reporting. Okay, and you can also, this particular solution doesn't have it, but when you change the orientation of it, you can get it to go to a different layout for the orientation. There's now a trigger that it knows which orientation the iPad is, and it knows when it changes its orientation. So you can say, go to my portrait layout, go to my landscape layout. This one hasn't got it, and I haven't built it in. Let's go back to there. Let's get rid of those again. Okay. So some of the good things, some of the new things in FileMaker 14 on the iOS devices. One of the bigger things is barcode reading. And you can see here on this serial number, in theory this is an assets thing. So you've got all your assets, and you've got serial numbers, and you've got internal numbers and those sorts of things. So the little icon of a barcode there. If I click on that, go down to here, and we same thing down here. If I click on that on the desktop, it does nothing, because what it's asking for is an input from device. So let me turn on my script debugger, and this is the reason you have advanced. Insert from device, and you can see it's grayed out because insert device doesn't work on desktop. So if I tell it to run, it's come back with an error. Now really, if it were me, I would be trapping before it came back with the error. I'd be asking what sort of device it is and not even attempting to do it. Or, and in fact this is what's happened on the desktop layout. Get rid of that, go back to the desktop layout, details. It's not even available. So in theory, you'll never see that on the desktop. In practice, it's possible. So in theory, it's okay, because you're not going to get the error on here. So how does it work? Works remarkably well, actually. So it's brought up my camera straight away, and it's asked me for a barcode. Maybe it's not bright enough here. There it goes. When it's brighter, it works very well. So I'll just go down again, and then I know that we need it to be a little bit closer. Where are you?
You need to put the iPad up there.
Sorry. I'll get rid of them now that I've put them in there. Tell me when I don't do that, because I can't see anything.
I want to see what you do.
Okay. I'll get rid of those. I'll get rid of that. Okay, we'll try again.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so tap on that, it's brought up the camera. Somewhere here. we go.
Cool.
So it's pretty good. I was actually quite surprised about how quick it was.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's still not quick enough in a situation where you've got people walking past you. Still need a ting, 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 ting for one of those. But if you're walking around the office, walking around somewhere, and you need to put in the serial number, there it is. And in a brightly lit office it'd be much better. And when you get used to where the camera is and where you need to put it, I reckon that would go quite quickly.
Has someone invented an extensible camera? USB in the bottom?
You can either do Bluetooth or USB.
A USB one?
Yeah. USB on the iPads, it used to be, I'm pretty sure it still is, you can either have the USB or the keyboard, because the USB becomes a keyboard, it's a keyboard extension. Bluetooth scanners is the way to go. And in fact, I built something for one of these, and it was a tap thing. We weren't using scanners, and that company went to a program called Handshake, and Handshake uses Bluetooth scanners, talking directly to the iPad, and that's just zap, 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 zap. And that would probably work quite well with FileMaker as well. Yeah. It's not designed, it's not ready for people coming through the door scanning tickets. It would work fine. That's as quick as going through the airport gate with a scanner. So if you had that sitting on there, put the ticket on it, that would be fine. But if you've got lots of people coming through, and all jostling and not orderly, then I don't think it'll work very well. Another thing that they brought into, I can't remember, 13 or 14, is popovers. So we don't have to move away from layouts to do inputs. We can have value lists. We can insert from, look at that, I can insert from a barcode. Put that Coke bottle up again, it's getting a lot of use. Focus, there it goes. Okay, and do done. And let me just show you the background of what it's doing with all of this changing of buttons and things. It's using the hide facility, which I think I went through last time. The hide is the best thing since sliced bread, as far as I'm concerned. We've got this hide, and that's hiding when get window mode equals 0. And window mode equals 0, I've got no idea when. Anybody remember?
Fine.
Sorry, that's find, is
Find.
it? Yeah. So you hide it when it's finding, which is a bit funny because it's not ticked in apply and find mode. I thought find was 1. Yeah.
What does that say then?
That says get window mode equals 0.
0 is normal.
Browse?
Browse.
Okay, so you hide it when it's in browse mode, okay. And you can see that all of these are stacked. Lots of stacking. Nothing else there? That appears to have 2 on it, so there's something else in there. It's probably something grouped. In fact, I know it's grouped. There we go, that's grouped. So that's when the order status is less than 4, whatever that is in this solution, that's going to be hidden. When the order status is less than 4, that's going to be hidden. That's also grouped. So when it equals 4, it's going to be a review, and that's going to be hidden when it's reviewed. So 4 must be something else, so it's going to be hidden when it's 4. That's going to be hidden in find mode, that's going to be hidden in find mode. There must be something else. The other great thing, in case you hadn't discovered it, is multiple undo. So I've moved a whole heap of things and ungrouped things, and okay, I don't want any of that. I could go just revert, but I might have changed something else in the layout at some other time. But if I just do undo, 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 that takes me back to where I am. So that's wonderful. One of the problems with working with other people's solutions is you don't know where the stacking is. And I was having a look at this this afternoon, and it's got a little pop-up thing there. I was thinking, where's that coming from? I went into layout mode and I double-clicked on that. There's no, oh, it did pop up there. It must be somewhere else. I know where it was. It's in the iPad details. Is certified. When we go here, you can't even see it on here. Can't see it on there either. There we go. Go back to the other one. And that's not going to work on that because, again, it's not. Let's go back one. I'll just do the signature. I'll come back to this. But that little certified on pop-up, when I tried it here, well, it doesn't come up there, and I was looking for it. Double click on that. No, that's going straight to a field. Double click on this one. No, that's not doing anything. Eventually I unpacked all of these, and no, it's not that one. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Sitting all the way down there. So stack upon stack, all using the hide for certain things. Well, it's not conditional formatting per se. It's hide conditions. So they all disappear. Now, one of the great things about the hiding is that when they're hidden, they're not there, as opposed to conditional formatting, where they're still there but you can't see them.
So, what's that condition called?
That's the hide condition.
Hide condition.
Yep. So that is, you can do it on any object. So if and you can see the little eye there, that's telling us that that's got a hide condition on it. So if we choose anything and we go hide object when, so you can hide it whatever you want it to be, whenever you want it to be, and you can make it different things at different times. So it could be, you can hide it with this or that, and this or that, and this or that, and this or that. And when it's hidden, it's not there. It's not seen by the web, it's not seen by FileMaker. So if you've got something that's calculation intensive, and you know that if you've got lots of records and it has to calculate a whole heap of records, that it can take a while for the layout to generate. If you put a hide condition on it, and you have a little button that says show or hide, and you say hide, not there, don't calculate. Hit the show button, everything else has been rendered and it only has to calculate that little bit and pop it up onto the screen. So that's really useful.
I've been in situations where that's been desperately needed.
Yeah. Best thing since sliced bread. And you can see in this particular solution they've used it heaps. Just about everything in here has got a high condition of some sort. Okay. So, coming back to swiping. Come back to browse mode there. Come back to here. Get rid of that. Come back to this. Actually, I'll just get rid of that signature so we can come back to that one again. Again, this took me a little while to figure out where the signature was happening and how it was doing it. So I'll just bring that in there and go to the other one. No, nothing there. Ah, that's because I'm still in the record. Commit the record. There we go. Get rid of that. Stick that back out there. Now you notice that, I'll just come back to here, talk about hide conditions. We've got a border of the layout here, and this container is outside that border. So it's not being seen on the layout. We can't scroll across to it, can't get to it, but it is still there. Okay, and it's got a little thing to say, don't delete this because we need it. What happens is when you tap on the signature, it goes to that container field, and it knows that it's a signature container, so it's opened up a place to put a signature. But as soon as I put just the slightest edge, just 1 pixel in, there it is. Now it's sitting there because all of these have got stretches on them. So as the layout stretches across, the field stretches across with it. Whereas this one here, I haven't put that on there. So if I've taken that off there and put it on there, with a bit of luck, yeah, it's actually sitting right on the edge here. You can't see it now.
So in the iPad version, it actually pulls it on.
Yeah, basically. Well, you can't see it. I'll show you what happens on the iPad version in a moment. So what happens when you certified signature? So when you go certification iOS, that's the script. Certification iOS, where are you? There it is. So it says insert from device, asset signature container, type signature. So it has to go and look for that field and open up that field. So it's inserting into that field. Now because that field is on that layout, there's the signature container. Because it's on that layout, it has to go to that and it pulls it up and across.
So show us on the
Sunset. Sorry, it's just gone sunset and my... Well, that's working really well too. I've got Flux working. Just quit it. There we go.
Oh, does that come on automatic at sunset?
At sunset.
Time to go to bed? Okay.
No, not time to go to bed, sunset. And it turns the screen yellow, takes off the blue light. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And then about 11 o'clock, it goes really yellow. So, come on, off to bed. Apparently, Apple are introducing that into the next iOS.
Cool. It's there.
Sorry?
Yes, it is there.
Yes. You've seen the beta, have you?
Yeah, it was released today.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Yes. Oh, that's why my wife upgraded it. She said, I've done the wrong thing, I've upgraded my phone. I don't know, what's the password? There you go. Where was I? Oh, yeah, signatures. Okay. So, got that up on the screen, great. So I tap on signature. It says I've got to insert into the device. There was a bit of a flash there as it said dragged it on. And doesn't matter which orientation. Up until 13 it was, I think it was always landscape. So even if you were looking at a portrait, the signature came up on the side. Now it's both ways. Still horrible to sign in, but you know, it's a tablet. Tap accept and it puts it into that. Now that hasn't committed yet. We need to actually commit. And what I've done in most of my pop-ups is I put a little done button, because it's not either a done button or a cross, because it's not obvious how to close the pop-up. And yeah, putting it. One of the nuisances with the cross is that it's actually got to be inside the pop-up. You can't have it like a nice web interface where you've got the half of the black circle outside the pop-up with a little X on it. It's got to be all inside the pop-up. Otherwise, it falls outside the pop-up and just sits on the layout. But that's something that I've done a lot. just for a usability. So that's now changed to be certified, and when we tap on that we can see the signature. There is no way in this application, this solution, to change that signature until you go in and, like I did before, and delete it out. Which is probably a good thing. Probably, you know, in this solution it's probably a good idea that you can't go in and change the signature. Although if something got updated or something else, I would want to be able to do that. Again, with pop-ups, you can change all of these things. One of the problems with the iOS and the iPad is as soon as it pops up on the keyboard, you've lost half your screen. Yeah. Not much you can do about that, I'm afraid. Except run it vertically, and then it's not quite as bad. So most of the applications that I produce for the iPad are designed to be vertical rather than landscape, portrait rather than landscape.
Oh, for that reason. Right.
For that reason, yeah. Particularly when you're inserting stuff. Okay. Something was introduced in 14 is, what's it called? I'll show you what it does and then I'll go back in and see what it's called because I can't remember. It's a type of tab, and on the iOS you can use your finger to swipe through. This is still talking to here, so that's a little bit slower. I might put it on the device in a moment and see if it's any quicker. You can't use the swipe. No, you can't use the swipe or two-finger swipe on the desktop. What I've done there is a two-finger swipe, and it's actually gone to the next record. Two-finger swipe on here goes to the next record. Isn't that good? So you can navigate with a two-finger swipe to the next record. Must remember that. So what's that called? That is called a slide control. Makes sense. Which is a version of a tab control. It's basically a tab control without tabs. Now a popover is a button. And it's actually a type of portal, so you can't have. You can't, if it's in a portal, you can't put a portal in it. So things break with that. You've just got to be careful with those sorts of things. So they're the two new big things, the popover button and the slide control. Yeah, everything else is all the same.
There's a need to, on your layout, to identify which bits are pop-up or not? Or someone has to get to know the interface that you've designed?
A bit of both, but there is.
I mean, personally, as far as the things you do.
What I do personally?
Yeah.
Well, I know what's.
Yeah, but you know, but a new user coming to it, do they have to be explained, or do you use a graphic identifier like a font or a colour or something that says this is a pop-up something?
No, it's. I try and make my interfaces intuitive, so when it does something, it's is that what it is? So on this, you've got a. Let's just go back to. We've got the depreciation. Oh, sorry, thank you. So on this one, we've got the depreciation button in the bottom left-hand corner. When you tap on that, it just pops up a thing to put your depreciation in. That's pretty intuitive.
Yeah.
When you tap on the certified, or when you tap on signature when it's not certified, it just pops up a thing to put the signature in. So you don't have to say, hey guys, this is going to be a pop-up.
But then all of those, is the reserve a pop-up?
The review?
The
review is a pop-up.
Check-in?
Check-in is a pop-up.
But a different sort, that's why it's a different colour. Don't know why it flashed.
No, I changed. I must have done something. check it out, check it back in, check it out to someone, come back to West, done. There we go. I must have checked it out, checked it back in or something. So when it comes in for review, so that all makes sense from an iPad point of view. You're not going to a different layout, you're not doing anything else. And one of the solutions that I've done recently, we've used a lot of these, a lot of the pop-ups, and when you click in a field it pops up a selection. So it's like a menu. So tap on this, there's your selection, tap on that, and it puts something into another field. So very similar to this sort of thing. Now when you're in the design layout, or when you're in layout mode, you can show pop-over buttons. So I'll take that off, just move these around here. No, let's move that a bit. And I'll go View, Show Pop-over buttons, and you can see there that it's got a little symbol on it to tell you that's a pop-over when you're doing things. Back where it was. Yeah. So it gets a little bit confusing when you've got a pop-over, a script trigger, a conditional formatting, a hide condition, and something else all on the same object. And if it's a small object, you've got all of these little icons across it. But that gives you an idea when you're doing it, of what it's doing. But the idea with FileMaker is that you shouldn't have an instruction manual. Yes. That's my opinion. Yeah. So it's an Apple type thing. Yeah. So you don't have to say, click here, tap here, do this. And if you do, and on the desktop one, when you don't have any photos, go back to here, see if I can delete that. Delete that? No. I'll do a new record. It's got just an indicator, a placeholder to say what to do.
Yeah. How often do you use where it says untitled up there, item? Like sometimes if you have an address, it's obvious what the first two lines are, what the state and the postcode is. You put an indicator in rather than a label.
A placeholder?
A placeholder
yes.
Name.
Yes.
The field rather than a label.
Yeah, placeholders are an interesting concept. Because yes, if it's really obvious, if you've got address, state, suburb, suburb, state, postcode, then that's reasonably obvious.
Not to have to put a label on it, but put a placeholder.
Yes. However, sometimes you click into that field and you go, oh, what was that again? Because when you go into the field, the placeholder disappears.
Yes.
And then you've got to come in, oh, that's right, that was the address. Click back into it. So I often do both. Have a placeholder for when it's empty, and have a label for when it's not empty anyway, so you can see what it is. And even if you've got state, suburb, state, postcode in a row, I'll often put on the left-hand side sub-state postcode or suburb state postcode. So it's not, the three fields are next to each other, but it's not necessarily the labels are right next to the field. Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I think that is actually a calculation. It's not a sign, no, that's not. So when we check it out, we give it to, assign it to someone, and we assign it to wherever it is. And then some of the other things disappear. Okay, popovers work just as well on the desktop. I use popovers a lot now. Keeps you in context. And that's one of the things with, I used to do a lot of, most of my work is done on Mac. I used to do a lot of Windows, open a new window, close the window. Now instead of opening a new window, I'd use a popover. Even if it's taking up the whole of the, and on Windows, it's even better, because on Windows you've got the problem of expanding and contracting windows.
So do you put a closed pop-up on some of your, inside some of your pop-ups?
In the pop-up, yeah, I would put a done button. Right. If I was building this one, because it doesn't, what do I do? I'm here, what do I do? Okay, I think I click over there, oh, that's disappeared. So what I would do on that is I'd do a
Your button somewhere.
I'd do a button there, and I would either make it a single step. We went through this last time with the new way of doing scripts, and it's just so good. Just close, pop over, and go OK. So now, and I'll just put in here, go done. Now that's going to look horrible, but here you do blah 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 blah. OK, done. Put it away. Cool. Now the other great thing about that is if you want some actions to happen when you close the popover, you can either put a script trigger onto the closing the popover.
Oops, you haven't filled that field in.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And keep it open, or you can put it onto the done button to say when I click the done button, run this script, and this script's going to check things and do this and go away and do that and whatever you want it to do. So you can either do it as a script trigger, but one of the things I find with script triggers is they get hidden, and this solution uses script triggers quite a lot. All of the
hidden where?
Hidden in the background. It's got a script trigger on it, but you don't really know what it's doing, and you've got to go and find it. So you've got to go into. So this has got script triggers on it, and you think it might be two. Yeah, well, it looks like there's two script triggers on that. So this is what I was saying before about getting all sorts of icons. It's got two script triggers, a conditional formatting, it's a button, and it's got a high condition on it. Okay, so and it's a button itself. Okay, so it's a button when it does something. We've got an object modify script trigger, so it'll do something when the object is modified. Now it makes sense on this one because it's asking you to drag something onto it, and then when it's being dragged onto it, it wants to do something without having to click something. So it makes sense there. But that's hidden. You've got to go and find out what that script is. Whereas if you double click it, you can find out what the button is straight away.
Am I right in thinking that the script triggers don't come on the design report? I couldn't find them last time I looked.
I think they are.
Okay.
They are? I think so. Ralph?
I don't know about the latest version, but they were.
Right. Oh, a little. If they were, they still will be.
Yeah, script triggers are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certain. They certainly won't take anything out of the database design report. They'll put things into it. As new features come on, they'll put things into it. Certainly won't take stuff out of it. So that looks like it's, unless of course it's, yes it is, it's grouped. That's something that I really hate. That's a grouped object. I've got no idea what's grouped. I've got no idea what the triggers are or the buttons or anything else. If I ungroup those, I lose everything.
So you clone it.
And they're all gone.
Just
What were they?
duplicate it before you do that.
Yeah, but I want to know what they were.
Yeah, well, if you duplicate it,
But I'd never find. If I duplicate it,
then
I'd never
undo
know.
them and work out, then you've got the original sitting there.
No. If I duplicate that,
Yeah, the whole set,
Okay.
the group set.
okay, so I've got a group set sitting over there.
Yeah.
I ungroup them.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose my stuff.
Yeah, but they're on that one.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got,
But they might be on one or on the
or on the other, you think?
Yeah. Button set.
Maybe. So that's doing the drag. Drag picture get script parameter.
So is there a button on that one, button setup?
And that's drag picture get script parameter. It's exactly the same
But
thing.
is
How
there
do
a
I know
button
whether
setup?
it's the same?
But is there a button set up on that as well?
Not on this one. I know what the button does.
That one.
That's okay. The button's just a single strip step. But according to this, that's got two script triggers. Now, are they the same or are they two different ones?
Sometimes if you group something and then apply it, it does it to both.
That's correct. Yeah, so if you've got to get the order, the same thing happens with the hide condition.
Yeah.
If you do the button and then you
Group them.
group them and you put a high condition on them,
Okay.
the high condition's okay. But if you put if you don't group them but have a button on one and a button on the other, and then you do something, one of them disappears. And it doesn't look like if you've got a high condition on it, but you do. So you've got to do it in the right order. So it's fantastic, but some of these groupings can be really annoying. And that's one of the things with the grouping that probably didn't need to be grouped, apart from making it easy to drag things around. So let me undo all of that. So what that script trigger was doing, I've broken that. So in theory, even though I've gone out of layout mode and come back into it, I should be able to undo again, and it's brought back that last undo, which is even better. Go into browse mode. So I'll just tap in. I can't click and go and choose on this particular solution, but I can, since we're doing rally stuff, I'm going to, I'll go to my Dropbox because there's lots of photos there. Go to there, and drag and drop. So what that's done is it's dropped it into that container, and then it's run the script trigger. Why don't we put the debugger on and put another one into here, and you'll see that we've still got up here the first image. We've dragged it so it's modified it. It's doing an on modify. It's only one step, and it's setting this container to be that image. And when I click on this, it's just doing the same thing. So we get that. Just see if I've got some. One of these has got power in it. Got power. There we go. Here we go. What time did you want the break?
We'll have a break for just 5 minutes or so. People can bring some
Yep.
tea in here.
Okay.